Alex Thompson sat on his bed, flipping through a biology textbook while trying to ignore the emptiness of his dorm room. The second bed across from his remained perfectly made, untouched since he had arrived at Orion University a week ago. As one of the few humans accepted into the prestigious interplanetary college, Alex had arrived early for a special orientation program. "At least my roommate should be here tomorrow," he muttered to himself, closing the textbook. According to the housing notification, he'd been assigned someone named Trill from a planet called Vesta. The university had sent a brief informational packet about Vestans, but Alex had only skimmed it, figuring he'd learn about his roommate in person. With several hours before dinner, Alex decided to squeeze in a workout. The dorm room wasn't spacious, but he had enough floor space for basic exercises. He peeled off his shirt, tossed it aside, and began a series of push-ups, moving to sit-ups, and then jumping jacks. 20 minutes into his routine, sweat dripping down his chest and back, Alex heard the door click open behind him. He turned, mid-jumping jack, to see who had entered. In the doorway stood a figure about his height but considerably slimmer. The newcomer had pale blue skin with a subtle iridescent sheen that shifted colors when they moved. Their eyes were large, currently a deep purple color, and they had 6 slender fingers on each hand that now clutched a travel bag so tightly their knuckles turned white. "Hi. You must be Trill," Alex said with a friendly smile, lowering his arms. "I'm Alex. Guess you arrived earlier then." The words died in his throat as he noticed Trill's reaction. The Vestan had gone completely still, their eyes rapidly changing from purple to a bright yellow. Trill's mouth opened slightly, but no sound came out. They took one step backward, then another. Are you okay?" Alex asked, taking a step forward. This seemed to break whatever spell had frozen Trill in place. The alien dropped their bag and bolted down the hallway. "Wait," Alex called, rushing to the door. He caught a glimpse of Trill disappearing around a corner at the end of the corridor. What just happened? Alex looked down at himself, confused. Was he that sweaty? Did he smell bad? He grabbed his shirt and pulled it back on, then picked up Trill's abandoned bag and placed it carefully on the empty bed. He checked the time. The dining hall would be open soon, and maybe Trill would be there. Alex quickly showered, changed clothes, and headed out, hoping to find his roommate and figure out what had gone wrong. The university's main dining hall was a massive structure designed to accommodate students from dozens of different planets, with various environmental settings and food options. Alex scanned the room, but didn't see any sign of the blue-skinned Vestan. "Looking for someone?" asked a voice beside him. Alex turned to see Mira, another human student he'd met during orientation. "My roommate just arrived, but something weird happened. They took one look at me and ran away." Mira raised her eyebrows. "Species? Vestan. Name's Trill." Mira's eyes widened. "Oh, did you read the cultural guide they sent you?" "Not really," Alex admitted. "I figured we'd just talk it out when they arrived." Mira shook her head. "Alex, Vestans have some pretty specific cultural norms. If you did something that seemed threatening..." Alex thought back to the moment. "I was just working out in our room. No shirt on, sweaty. Standard human stuff." Mira winced. "That might actually be the problem. You should probably find them and explain." Alex nodded slowly, wondering what about his ordinary workout routine could have possibly terrified his alien roommate so completely. Whatever cultural misunderstanding had occurred, he needed to fix it. And fast. After checking several locations around campus, Alex finally found Trill in the botanical garden. The university had created special sections for plants from different worlds, and Trill was sitting alone in the Vestan exhibit, surrounded by luminous blue flowers that matched their skin tone. Alex approached slowly, trying not to startle his roommate again. "Hey there," he said softly. "Can we talk?" Trill's head snapped up, eyes flashing yellow briefly before settling into a deep green. You You are clothed now. Yeah, about that. Alex sat down on a bench across from Trill, keeping a respectful distance. I think we had some kind of misunderstanding. I was just exercising in our room. Trill's fingers twitched nervously. Exercise. That is what you call the pre-combat ritual. Alex blinked in confusion. Pre-combat ritual? No, it was just a workout. To stay healthy and fit. You were not preparing to challenge me? Trill asked, their voice small. Challenge you? To what? Trill's eyes cycled through several colors before returning to green. On Vesta, only warriors remove their outer coverings, and only before entering combat. It is a signal of deadly intent. Understanding dawned on Alex. Oh, so when you saw me without a shirt, you thought I was challenging you to a fight. A fight to establish dominance. Trill nodded. It is how disputes are traditionally settled among my people. Alex couldn't help but laugh, then immediately regretted it when Trill flinched. Sorry, I'm not laughing at you. It's just that humans take off clothes for lots of non-violent reasons. When we're hot, when we exercise, when we swim. This was not mentioned in our orientation materials about humans. Trill said, their posture gradually relaxing. We were told humans were physically stronger than most species, but not about these customs. We're stronger? Alex asked, surprised. Yes, your planet has higher gravity and more atmospheric pressure than most inhabited worlds. Humans have evolved with denser muscle tissue and more efficient respiratory systems. Trill studied Alex with new curiosity. Even the weakest human could overpower the average Vestan. That's partly why I was so alarmed. Alex pondered this new information. He'd never considered himself particularly strong by human standards. I didn't know that, but I promise I have no intention of fighting you or anyone else. I see that now, Trill said. I apologize for my reaction. It is my first time off-world. No need to apologize. I should have read the cultural information they sent us. Trill's skin rippled with a subtle blue-green pattern that Alex guessed might be their equivalent of a smile. Perhaps we can establish some room protocols to avoid future misunderstandings. Definitely, Alex agreed. And maybe we can teach each other about our cultures. I've never met a Vestan before. I would like that, Trill said, standing up. Their eyes had shifted to a calm blue. Is it acceptable for us to return to our room now? I left my belongings. Of course. As they walked back to the dormitory, Trill asked hesitantly, how often do humans remove their coverings for this exercise? Pretty regularly, Alex admitted. But I can give you warning, or do it at the campus gym instead. No, Trill said after a moment of consideration. I should adapt to human customs if I am to study here. Just, perhaps a signal before you begin. Deal, Alex said with a smile. And maybe you can tell me more about Vesta. I want to make sure I don't accidentally challenge anyone else to a duel. For the first time, Trill made a musical sound that Alex realized was laughter. That would be wise. There are many more customs you should know about. As they reached their dorm building, Alex realized this strange misunderstanding might be the beginning of an interesting friendship, one that bridged not just different cultures, but different worlds. Over the next few weeks, Alex and Trill developed a comfortable routine in their shared space. True to his word, Alex always announced when he was about to exercise, and Trill gradually became accustomed to seeing a shirtless human without fearing imminent combat. I still don't understand why you must exhaust yourself like this, Trill commented one afternoon, watching with fascination as Alex completed his final set of push-ups. Humans need regular physical activity to stay healthy, Alex explained, reaching for a towel. Our bodies evolved to move a lot. Without exercise, we get weak and sick. Fascinating, Trill said, their eyes shifting to a curious orange color. Vestans focus more on mental exercises. Our physical forms require less maintenance. After showering, Alex joined Trill at their study table, where the Vestan was manipulating a small holographic device. What's that? he asked. A model of my home city, Trill explained, expanding the projection to show a beautiful arrangement of curved structures that seemed to flow together like frozen waves. I'm homesick today. Alex studied the alien architecture with genuine interest. It's beautiful, so different from our blocky human buildings. Vestin design follows natural patterns, Trill explained, their fingers dancing through the hologram to highlight different areas. We believe harmony with nature creates harmony in society. Their conversation was interrupted by a knock at the door. It was Mira and her roommate, Dorn, a stocky reptilian student from a planet called Krell. We're heading to the recreation field to watch the gravity ball match, Mira announced. Want to join? Alex looked at Trill questioningly. Have you seen Gravity Ball yet? No, Trill admitted, but I've heard it's quite popular. You'll love it, Dorn said, his scaled face breaking into what might have been a smile. It's one of the few sports where most species can compete together. The four students made their way across campus to the special field where gravity could be adjusted to create floating zones. A match was already underway between two mixed-species teams. Trill watched in amazement as players leaped into low-gravity pockets to intercept the glowing ball, then used the momentum to sling themselves toward the goals. This is remarkable, they said, eyes shifting to an excited bright blue. Want to try it sometime? Alex offered. They have recreational hours when anyone can play. Trill hesitated. I'm not sure I'd be very good. Vestins aren't known for athleticism. It's not about being good, Alex explained. It's about having fun and trying new things. As they watched the game, Alex noticed a group of students several rows away giving them unfriendly glances. Ignore them, Mira whispered, following his gaze. That's Drake and his friends. They don't like the interspecies program. Why are some humans so resistant to other species? Trill asked quietly. Fear of what's different, Alex replied. It happens on every planet, I imagine. Trill nodded. On Vesta too, though less now than in our past. After the match, as they walked back toward the dorms, Drake and 3 other humans stepped into their path. Making friends with the aliens, Thompson, Drake sneered. Traitor to your species. Alex stepped slightly in front of his friends. The only species I'd be embarrassed to belong to is whatever subspecies of jerk you represent, Drake. Drake's face darkened, but before he could respond, a campus security drone hummed into view, its lights flashing gently. Drake and his friends retreated with muttered threats. Does this happen often? Trill asked as they continued walking. More than it should, Mira sighed. But for every Drake, there are 20 humans who want to learn about other worlds. Back in their room that evening, Trill surprised Alex by asking if he could teach them some basic human exercises. Really, I thought you weren't interested in physical training. I'm interested in understanding humans better, Trill said, eyes shifting to a determined purple. And perhaps having stronger muscles would be useful if we encounter Drake again. Alex smiled. I don't think it'll come to that. But sure, we can start with some simple stretches tomorrow. As Trill carefully arranged their specialized sleep pod, they added thoughtfully, on Vesta, we have a saying. Knowledge bridges the void between stars. I think friendship bridges the void between species. Alex nodded, feeling a surge of pride in their growing friendship. I think you might be right about that. Midterm season arrived, bringing with it longer study sessions and heightened stress across campus. Alex noticed Trill spending more time in the science library, often returning to their room late at night with tired eyes faded to a dull gray. The physics exam tomorrow, Alex asked one evening, looking up from his own notes. Trill nodded. Professor Landry's questions are always more complex than I expect. Human scientific notation is challenging. I could help, Alex offered. Physics was my best subject in high school. You would do that? Trill's eyes brightened to a hopeful blue. Of course. That's what friends are for. They study together until midnight, with Alex explaining Earth physics concepts using simple analogies that bridged the gap between human and Vestan understanding. When they finally called it quits, Trill's confidence had visibly improved. "I will take a different route to the exam tomorrow," Trill mentioned casually as they prepared for sleep. "The path through the old science building is shorter." Alex frowned. "That area is pretty isolated. Maybe stick to the main walkways." "Drake and his friends?" Trill asked, correctly guessing Alex's concern. "They've been hassling more alien students lately. Just be careful." The next morning, they went their separate ways. Alex to his literature seminar and Trill to the physics exam. Alex couldn't shake a feeling of unease throughout his class. When the professor dismissed them early, he decided to head toward the science building, telling himself he just wanted to see how Trill had done on the exam. As he approached the old science building, he heard raised voices coming from a secluded courtyard. He recognized Drake's sneering tone immediately. "Think you're so smart, but you're just taking spots that should go to humans." Alex quickened his pace and turned the corner to find Trill backed against a wall, surrounded by Drake and 4 of his friends. Trill's skin had paled to an almost white color, their eyes flashing between yellow fear and red anger. "I earned my place here, just as you did," Trill was saying, voice steady despite their obvious distress. "Leave them alone, Drake," Alex called out, stepping into the courtyard. Drake turned with a smirk. "Well, if it isn't the alien lover, this isn't your business, Thompson." "My friend, my business," Alex replied, moving closer. He noticed Trill's backpack on the ground, its contents scattered. "We're just having a conversation about resource allocation," Drake said with mock innocence, explaining to the blue freak why Earth institutions should prioritize Earth students. Alex felt a surge of anger. "Back off." Now, one of Drake's friends, a muscular guy named Vince, stepped forward. "Or what? There are 5 of us and 1 of you." "2. Trill corrected, moving to stand beside Alex despite their obvious fear. What happened next would later become campus legend. Vince lunged forward, trying to shove Alex backward. Instead, Alex stood his ground, barely moving an inch when Vince collided with him. With reflexes honed from years of sports, Alex sidestepped and used Vince's momentum to send him sprawling. 2 more of Drake's friends rushed forward. Alex blocked the first punch with his forearm, wincing at the impact but remaining upright. He pushed back with enough force to send the attacker stumbling several feet backward. "What the hell?" the second attacker muttered, backing away after seeing his friend so easily handled. Drake's confident expression faltered. "Told you he was a freak too," he said to his remaining friend, but there was uncertainty in his voice. A small crowd of students, both human and alien, had gathered at the edges of the courtyard, many recording the confrontation with their devices. "Just go, Drake," Alex said calmly. "Nobody wants trouble." Drake looked at the growing audience, then at his defeated friends. "This isn't over," he muttered, but he backed away, gesturing for his group to follow. As they left, Alex turned to Trill. "Are you okay?" Trill's eyes had shifted to an amazed violet color. "Yes, but you barely moved when they hit you. Human strength, remember." Alex shrugged, helping Trill gather their scattered belongings. "I knew about it theoretically," Trill said, "but seeing it." By dinner, videos of the confrontation had spread across campus social networks, along with excited discussions about human physical capabilities compared to other species. Alex found himself the center of unwanted attention in the dining hall. "Is it true humans are apex predators?" a tentacled student asked him as he tried to eat. "What? No," Alex replied, uncomfortable. "We're just built differently." Trill watched the growing commotion with concern in their now amber eyes. "I think," they said quietly, "we have created a new kind of misunderstanding." "Attention, students of Orion University." The holographic announcement flickered to life in the main courtyard where Alex and Trill were enjoying lunch. Registration for the annual interspecies academic and athletic competition opens today. Teams must include members from at least 3 different planetary systems. Alex looked at Trill with raised eyebrows. That sounds interesting. Have you heard of this before? Trill's skin rippled with excitement, flashing a pattern of bright blues. Yes, it's a major event. Teams compete in both mental and physical challenges designed to require diverse abilities. No single species can excel at everything. Maybe we should enter, Alex suggested, taking a bite of his sandwich. After what happened with Drake, it might be good to show how different species can work together. Trill's eyes shifted to a thoughtful purple. We would need at least one more teammate. What about me? Said a melodic voice behind them. They turned to see Nyx, a tall student with silvery skin and hair that seemed to float weightlessly around her head. I couldn't help overhearing. I'm from Lumen, and I've been wanting to join the competition. That would be perfect, Trill said. Luminians have exceptional sensory perception and energy manipulation abilities. We still need one more, Alex noted. I know someone, Nyx offered. Grax is from the High Gravity World Chorus. He's in my quantum mathematics class. By that afternoon, their team was formed and registered. The 4 of them gathered in Alex and Trill's room to plan their strategy. Grax was short and incredibly dense, with rocky skin and powerful limbs. He spoke slowly but thoughtfully. The competition has 6 events, 2 academic, 2 physical, and 2 mixed. What are our strengths? Alex asked, taking notes. Trill's fingers danced over a holographic display. I excel at theoretical sciences and pattern recognition. Nyx has superior perception and energy manipulation. Grax has mathematical genius and physical strength in high-gravity situations. And Alex has both physical strength and adaptability. Nyx added, humans are remarkably well-rounded. Alex felt strange being analyzed like a specimen, but he had to admit they were forming a balanced team. Training began the next day. For 2 hours every evening, they practiced together, learning each other's strengths and weaknesses. They discovered that while Alex couldn't match Grax's raw strength, he had better endurance. Trill couldn't run as fast as humans, but their mind could process complex equations with incredible speed. Nyx could perceive energy patterns invisible to others, which proved invaluable in several practice scenarios. One evening, after a particularly grueling physical training session in the variable gravity gym, they collapsed together on benches, catching their breath. You know, Grax rumbled, when I first arrived here, I was warned about humans. Alex looked up, surprised. Warned? Yes, Grax continued. We were told humans were unpredictable, potentially dangerous predators with unusual physical capabilities. That's not entirely wrong, Alex admitted with a laugh. But there's more to us than that. Much more, Trill agreed, their skin pulsing with friendly blue patterns. Humans are physically capable, yes, but they also show remarkable empathy and cooperative behavior. Which explains why Earth wasn't conquered despite being a relatively young spacefaring civilization, Nyx added. Other species found humans more valuable as allies than as enemies. Alex had never thought about his species in these terms before. I guess we all have misconceptions about each other. That's why this competition matters. The day before the competition, they were reviewing their final strategy when Professor Landry, the physics teacher, approached their table in the library. I've been watching your team prepare, she said with an approving nod. Very impressive coordination. Thank you, Professor, Trill replied, eyes bright with pride. You know, she continued, this competition was established 10 years ago after a similar incident to your confrontation with Drake. The university wanted to showcase how different species could complement each other rather than compete. Alex nodded thoughtfully. That's exactly what we want to demonstrate. Well, Professor Landry said with a smile, based on what I've seen, you 4 might just have a chance at winning. As she walked away, the 4 teammates looked at each other with renewed determination. What had started as a response to prejudice had become something more. A chance to show the entire university the power of interspecies cooperation. Tomorrow, Grax said solemnly, we make history. Trill's eyes shifted to a confident gold color. Together. The final day of the competition arrived with perfect weather. The university's main arena had been transformed into a spectacular venue, with various zones for different challenges. Crowds of students and faculty filled the stands, many waving banners supporting their favorite teams. Alex, Trill, Nix, and Grax had performed beyond expectations. After 5 grueling events, they stood in second place, just 3 points behind the defending champions, a team led by a senior Arcturian student with 3 previous victories. Just one event left, Alex said, wiping sweat from his brow. The engineering challenge. Trill nodded, eyes glowing with determination. This is where our combined skills will matter most. The final challenge required teams to build and program a functional drone using provided materials, then navigate it through an obstacle course. Each species had different abilities that would be crucial. Trill's technical knowledge, Nix's energy perception, Grax's mathematical calculations, and Alex's practical problem-solving. As they gathered at their workstation, the head judge announced a twist. The drone must also be able to carry a small payload and deliver it precisely to a target zone. They worked together seamlessly. Trill designed the circuitry, while Nix handled the delicate energy cells. Grax calculated the optimal weight distribution as Alex assembled the physical components with steady hands. 10 minutes remaining, called the announcer. Just as they were making final adjustments, a deep rumble shook the arena. Lights flickered, and a section of the ceiling near the east entrance cracked ominously. What was that? Nix whispered, her silvery hair standing on end. Before anyone could answer, the emergency alert system blared to life. Attention. A power surge has damaged the structural integrity of the east wing. Please evacuate calmly through the west and south exits. Students began moving toward the exits, but panic quickly spread when another, louder crack echoed through the arena. A support beam near the east entrance groaned, beginning to bend under the strain. The evacuation route is blocked. Someone shouted. Alex noticed a group of younger students trapped near the failing structure. Without hesitation, he sprinted toward them, ignoring Trill's alarmed cry. Reaching the damaged section, Alex saw the problem immediately. A massive ceiling beam was slipping from its moorings, threatening to collapse the entire entrance. Several students were frozen in fear beneath it. Move back, Alex shouted, positioning himself under the beam. With a grunt of effort, he braced his shoulders against it, temporarily halting its descent. The trapped students scrambled to safety, but Alex couldn't move without risking the collapse. Alex. Trill's voice cut through the chaos. His roommate had followed him, along with Nix and Grax. The power system is overloading, Nix said, her eyes tracking invisible energy patterns. That's what's causing the structural failure. We need to bypass the main circuit and reroute power, Trill added quickly. But the control panel is behind that wall, and the maintenance tunnel is too small for most species. I can get to it, Grax said, immediately heading toward a narrow service duct. The beam won't hold much longer, Alex grunted, muscles straining. Sweat poured down his face as he fought against the immense weight. I'll help, said a familiar voice. To Alex's surprise, Drake appeared beside him, positioning his shoulders under the beam as well. Can't let you take all the glory, he muttered. With Drake helping to support the weight, Alex had a moment to catch his breath. Meanwhile, Trill had opened a wall panel and was frantically working with the wiring, guided by Nix's ability to see energy flows. Grax, can you hear me? Trill called into a communicator. When I give the signal, reverse the polarity on junction box 7. The building groaned again. Small pieces of ceiling began to fall around them. Now, Grax, Trill shouted. For a terrible moment, nothing happened. Then the emergency lights flickered back to full power, and a mechanical hum indicated the building's support systems coming back online. Structural reinforcement activated. Announced the building's eye. Danger level reduced. Please continue evacuation procedures. As automated support braces extended to secure the failing beam. Alex and Drake were finally able to move away. Emergency responders rushed in, securing the area and treating minor injuries. Outside in the safety of the central courtyard, Alex reunited with his teammates. All four were disheveled but unhurt. That was not part of the competition. Grax rumbled, his rocky face somehow managing to convey both exhaustion and humor. You saved those students, Nyx said to Alex, her silver eyes wide with admiration. We all did, Alex corrected, looking at his friends. Each of us did what we do best. Trill's skin was pulsing with bright, proud colors. I think we just passed the real test. 3 days after the crisis, Orion University held a special ceremony in the repaired arena. The competition had been declared a tie between all remaining teams, but that wasn't why students and faculty had gathered. Today was about something more important. In recognition of exceptional bravery and outstanding interspecies cooperation, announced Chancellor Moore, her voice echoing through the packed venue. I am proud to present these medals of honor to Alex Thompson, Trill, Nyx, and Grax. The four friends stood side by side on stage as the Chancellor placed gleaming medals around their necks. The crowd erupted in thunderous applause, a unique sound created by the different ways each species expressed approval. Some clapped, others stomped, whistled, hummed, or flashed bioluminescent patterns. Alex glanced at Trill, whose skin was rippling with joy in waves of bright blue and gold. How different things were from that first startled meeting in their dorm room. After the ceremony, they found themselves surrounded by students from dozens of worlds, all wanting to hear about their experience firsthand. Is it true humans can hold up buildings? Asked a wide-eyed first-year student with translucent skin. Alex laughed. Not exactly. I just helped brace one beam temporarily. Without Trill's technical knowledge, Nyx's energy perception, and Grax's quick action, that building would have collapsed regardless of my strength. That's what made the difference. Trill added, their eyes shimmering with a warm purple hue. No single species could have resolved that crisis alone. Later that evening, the four friends gathered in Alex and Trill's room for a small celebration of their own. Even Drake stopped by briefly, awkwardly offering his thanks and something resembling an apology before quickly departing. He's changing, Nyx observed after Drake left. Many students are. The incident has shifted perspectives about interspecies relations. Speaking of changing perspectives, Trill said, activating a holographic display. I received this message from the Veston Council of Education today. The message floated in the air between them, written in both Veston script and English. Honored student Trill, your reports on human physiology and social behavior have provided valuable insights that contradict our previous understanding. Based on your observations, the Council has voted to revise our educational materials regarding humans. While their physical capabilities once led us to classify them as potential threats, we now recognize them as natural protectors and valuable allies. We hope to establish more exchange programs with Earth institutions. You've been reporting on me? Alex asked, surprised but not upset. Trill's skin flushed slightly pink with embarrassment. On humans in general, ever since our first misunderstanding, I wanted my people to know the truth. And what is the truth about humans? Grax asked, genuinely curious. Alex looked uncomfortable with being the center of attention, but Trill answered before he could speak. That their strength comes with compassion, that they are as diverse in thought as they are similar in form, that they value friendship across boundaries others might not cross. Trill's eyes shifted to a fawn blue as they looked at Alex, and that they are remarkably patient with roommates who fear them without cause. I've learned just as much about Vestons, Alex said with a smile. And Luminians and Corrusians, he added, nodding to Nyx and Grax. Chancellor Moore had announced that morning that the university would be implementing new cultural exchange programs based on their experience. First-year orientation would now include more comprehensive information about physiological and cultural differences between species, and mixed species housing would be encouraged rather than randomly assigned. As the end of the academic year approached, Alex found himself facing an unexpected opportunity. A formal invitation had arrived from the Veston Science Academy, offering him a summer research position as part of their new exchange initiative. "Will you accept?" Trill asked, trying to sound casual, though their rapidly shifting eye color betrayed their excitement. "Definitely," Alex replied without hesitation. "I'd love to see those curved buildings in person." "My family is eager to meet you," Trill admitted, "though I've warned them not to panic if you exercise without a shirt." They all laughed, and as Alex looked around at his friends from across the galaxy, he marveled at how a simple misunderstanding in a dorm room had evolved into something that was changing relations between entire worlds. "To think," he said, raising his glass in a toast, "all this because you walked into my room and froze at the sight of me." Trill's skin pulsed with patterns of friendship and joy. Sometimes, the greatest discoveries begin with a moment of fear and end with understanding, Nix added softly. Grax nodded his rocky head in agreement. The universe becomes smaller when we learn to see through each other's eyes. As night fell over Orion University, the four friends stayed up late, planning their future adventures together, across campus and across the stars.